Well, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to another virtual painting session. So, just like the other painting sessions, I'm going to be working on this painting for about 2 hours at the most for today. And please feel free to ask any art-related questions while I am painting. Remember, the colors on the palette are listed for you in the description box of this video. This is the second layer that we are going to add onto the face of this painting. So I'm probably just going to stick with the face for the most part, working around the middle tones, the middle stages. So pretty much everything is going to be developed from the mid-tones. So of course, full-time painter, I was just painting earlier today. So yes, there's still a little bit of paint on my brushes from a previous painting session, but it should be fine. Let's mix up our first little skin tone. This is burnt sienna. Viridian. Hey, Ellen. Hey, Minnow. Let me move my iPad a little closer. Hey, Brian Wong. Hey, Stephanie. Thanks for watching from Virginia. So when I get started on the second sitting, or I tend to call them sittings, but second time I'm working on a painting, I tend to try to start somewhere easy, so the forehead or the cheek. So I'm just kind of mixing up skin tone for this area. And yes, the palette is a natural wood color. So the colors that you're going to see mixed on here are not going to look the same over here because this is gray and this is natural wood color. Hey, Monique. So I didn't oil out the painting, and I don't recommend that you oil out after every layer. With those other demonstrations that I did, like 2 weeks ago or last week, I can't even keep track of them. But those were short term, so I oiled out the painting, the second layer, because it was only a 2-layer portrait or 2-layer painting. This is going to have more than 2 layers. So I'm building this up very lean without too much medium at all, and without too much solvent either. So it's just the paint. Hey, Hard Shot, familiar name there. So I started doing these live painting sessions again. I started it up like a couple weeks ago on Tuesdays, Thursdays around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, hippie artist. Hey, Leonie. Leonie. Yeah, I would like to continue this this demonstration as much as I can. I mean, it's usually about the third stream on the same painting that viewership tends to diminish. So, like I said, if enough people are interested in watching me continue a long-term painting like this one, then I'll keep doing it. But if viewership drops too much after the third, then I may have to switch to another painting. Hey, hippie artist. Yeah, there is a video from the first session. It was, when was it? Today is Thursday, so it was on Tuesday where I started this one. it was a pretty dramatic start. There's a lot of stuff in this composition. So lots of straight lines and angles. Throw in a little bit of lead tin yellow. Thanks for joining here, hippie artist. Hey Hardshot, yep, you were mod before, moderator, but I changed it for online students in the live stream tier to be mods. But to be honest, Hardshot, I think I've been doing most of it on my own. We tend to get some like bots here, and the occasional person that wants to tear my head off, but it's not usually that bad, Hardshot, like it was back in the day. I'm a little bit more of a disciplinary figure now on these chats, so it's not too bad anymore. Hardshot, yes, I was supposed to be teaching in person. I'm offering another in-person class in the spring. I'm teaching in Howard County. But I mean, if you want to stop by and paint with me one of these days, Hardshot, it's Howard County Arts Council. I run a portrait session there on Wednesdays. Wednesday mornings from 11 to 2, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's every Wednesday, if you're free on Wednesdays. If anyone's free on Wednesdays and you live near the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area, and you want to paint with me, you are certainly welcome to join. Hey man, I'm glad you're interested in how the painting is going to turn out. Yeah, I mean, I hope that I can keep streaming it. Like I said, if viewership drops too much with this painting, then I'll have to switch to another one. But I mean, I'll continue this painting. So, those of you that want to see me continue this painting, however many streams it is, definitely continue joining me. Spread the word. Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now I'm just building up the planes. Through the middle stages, middle tones, the middle strategy. Which state? I'm in Maryland. Yeah, the group that I run on Wednesdays is Howard County, Maryland. Called Howard County Arts Council. Makes up a cooler skin tone. Hey, Mr. Piano Lee, any tips for getting seamless blends between change in tonal values in a portrait? I'd say the biggest tip, and I'm going to demonstrate it here as I'm doing it, is values. Being able to control your values. Trying not to blend too much in terms of like this kind of circular noodling thing. Try to minimize that and try to make the values as close together as you can make them in order to get that effect of a seamless blend. Also, some advice is to use bristle brushes. These are Silber Brush brand bristle brushes. Robert Simmons makes a good bristle brush too. Robert Simmons Signet or whatever it's called. Those are good ones too. Yeah, I was supposed to teach in person on Mondays, but I didn't get enough students to run my Monday night class. That was in person. So I'm going to offer it again in the spring, and if I can meet the minimum requirements, then I'll be teaching that course. But I understand everyone's trying to stay home. A little bit of cadmium yellow pale. Hey David, thank you. Now pretty soon I'm going to need to have some value or some color in the surrounding background. I actually didn't figure out what I want to put in that frame yet, so I may put just some dark value there. I'm not going to paint what's in the mirror itself. I'll probably turn that into its own little painting. So as you see, I've switched between a light brush and a dark brush. So this is going to be my dark brush. Oh, I'm glad you like the pose, Monique. Yeah, I've been teaching figure painting in black and white for my online students on Wednesdays, and I've become so much more confident, I think, with just a loose figure sketch, meaning loosely starting a painting, that I almost don't even need to do careful drawing that much anymore. My students are progressing so much with that project, or that series of projects. Hey Minnow, have I painted on a wooden panel? Yeah, I've painted on wooden panels before, and they're nice to use. They're definitely my preferred surface if I don't have linen available. I much prefer it over cotton. I'll only use cotton canvases for like short-term demonstrations or things like that. So a lot of what you're seeing me do here is exaggerating the planes, exaggerating the planar division between shapes. Treating this just like as if I was working from the live model. The one thing that is not so great about this photo reference is that the lights are a little washed out. I have painted this model in person many times, so I'm kind of familiarized with what these colors should look like. I'm pushing the orangey, I'm pushing the blues, I'm pushing the color contrast between the shapes. Hey, Mr. Piano, did you see a recent sale of a Nelson Shanks preparatory sketch of Princess Diana sold for 10 times its expected value? I didn't see that. Although I did see that a picture of that painting on the Nelson Shanks Facebook page. Which I tend to look at a lot. I don't comment. I don't really comment anything, because my Facebook's not really like you wouldn't know it's me. So I'd be like this random person commenting on a Nelson Shanks post. That's pretty cool. That is, paintings are still selling for so much. Hey Lynn, I don't know much French, but I think that sounds good. I'm glad that you like the style of this painting. Ever paint on clayboard? Yeah, I think so. Ampersand, the brand, has some clayboard. I've worked on that before. It's pretty smooth. It's it takes a lot to. It takes a couple layers of oil paint for it to be ideal for me, but it's fine. It's just really smooth. So everyone, yesterday was the deadline for Portrait Society of America submissions. I didn't submit anything. I haven't submitted anything to competitions for years. But I was wondering, any of you submit anything to Portrait Society of America yesterday? The deadline. I've been rejected from there too many times to justify paying the entry fee for that. Wow, it sold for 3 weeks ago for 200,000. Wow, that's awesome. Alright, so it looks like we got our first little bot. So like I said, I can kind of handle these things for the most part. So what I do is, if somebody is disruptive, first thing you're gonna do is you're going to be blocked from my YouTube channel. Once that's done, then you are going to be reported for harassment. So you've been blocked, banned, and reported for harassment. I think there's a little more of an angle for the nose. But I try not to stick too long in one area, so now I'm going to start to move around a bit. Yeah, but don't be afraid to comment, ask questions while I'm painting. Trust me, I'm not I'm not going to block ban and report someone for just asking a harmless question. Especially if it's art related. A little more of a brownish green for that mid-tone. Throw in some Dioxazine purple. Viridian. As you see, I'm kind of intuitively mixing. So I'm not quite, you know, following a recipe or carefully choosing these colors. It's just whatever I feel. I want to push that a little more red. Wow, a Nelson Shanks sketch sold for 200,000. That's awesome. When I studied in Studio Incominati in Philadelphia, like it's probably more than 10 years ago now. I remember seeing his paintings in person, and I always looked up to his seemingly effortless approach, kind of calm demeanor in painting. Alright, so I'm going to ask a question for everyone, and I'm going to double check that my chat box didn't freeze like it did last time. So my question for everyone, looks like it's not frozen. Okay, so my question to everyone is, do you have a favorite brush? And if so, what brand, what type of brush? And for me at the moment, I'd say my favorite brush is this one for now. This is a size 2 Silver Brush Grand Prix. And I just do so much with the size 2 bristles. Now my favorite brush from the past is this one, Princeton Catalyst Polytip Bristle. Which is great for backgrounds and things like that, but I only really use it for those purposes. I don't really use it for much else. Hey Mano, good question, how many layers of gesso do you put on a linen panel? I'd say what you want to do is use very good quality gesso. I like to use Liquitex Professional acrylic gesso whenever I have to gesso a panel, and try to do, I'd say, a minimum of 4 layers so that the tooth of the gesso can provide a nice grip. So from what I understand, the difference between gesso, acrylic gesso and acrylic paint is that gesso has like some kind of like toothiness to it. That's better to paint on. EC size 2 long filbert. Yeah, long filberts are awesome. Yeah, those Princeton Catalyst polytip bristle brushes, let me tell you, they last so long. So incredibly long. And there's been days where I've forgotten to clean them and I just left them. And I thought that would be it for the brush, but no. Brush is still going strong. Now, a very important thing with brushes is to clean your brushes very well. So for bristles, I use hot water. For Sables, I use cold water, and I always clean them first with mineral spirits, and then I will clean them with a special soap called the Master Soap. I use the Master Soap and the brush. I think it's like a brush conditioner or something. So shampoo and conditioner for the brushes. Hey David, can you start painting with acrylic and end it with oil paint? Yes, you can. You just can't do the reverse. So yes, you can start with acrylics if you want to. And there's no real rule for how to do it. My suggestion would be to do monochrome underpainting. That's what I usually suggest my students do. Monochrome, just black and white. Hey Stephanie, your favorite is the number 6 Winton flat fine bristle. Oh, cool. I haven't really used flat brushes too much, but they do create nice effects. April, you're a watercolor artist. Gonna try your first oil painting tomorrow. Awesome. So advice for that, a still life or a self-portrait would be a good start. Since watercolor and acrylic both dry very quickly, it's gonna feel a little like some acrylic painters call oil paint too slippery or too messy. So if you keep your paints, your palette organized such that you have your colors always in one spot and your mixing spot is always the same, you will have more like muscle memory, and it's not so messy, not so much of a messy feeling. So that's the best advice I can give you at the moment. Like I said, I'm really pushing these planes as much as I can. I know this looks nothing like the model yet. So Mr. Piano, important to clean the quick. Oh, the bottom of the what? Bottom of the brush. Uh, you mean the ferrules? You mean like this part of the brush? No, I don't really clean that. But the master soap kind of gets in there anyway and cleans it pretty well. Hey Cal, welcome, welcome. What's inspiring about the photo that I'm trying to bring out? The pose, the lighting, the emotion, very serene in nature. That's what I want to bring out. Good question. Yep, ferals. Yeah, like a feral cat, like ferals. That's the name. But of course, it could have multiple different names. You know, like other things. And I am using lead white. I tend to always use lead white. So it is very transparent looking. So yeah, it's kind of difficult to discern from you looking from there to here what the colors are that I'm mixing. Like I said, I'm mixing more intuitively. Not like I'm mixing with a big old palette knife and trying to get the exact. Instead, like I know where a dark is on my palette, and I just go and I mix it. Do I want it to be more green, more red, more violet? It's all a matter of feel. Yep, no problem, David. Well, thanks for watching from Iceland. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Happy New Year to you too. Hey, April. Oh, I'm glad you like how clean the palette is. I clean this with safflower oil at the end of the day, but just the mixing space. I like safflower oil because, and it's safflower oil made by Gamblin, so it's not like cooking oil or something like that. I like safflower oil because it's kind of cheap, not very expensive, and it leaves kind of like a glossy layer on the palette after I clean it. With my other palettes, I used to just clean them up with just mineral spirits, and there would be like a dark haze over top of the wood over time. So I found that the safflower oil does an even better job with this wooden palette than just mineral spirits alone. Cal, do you see different expressions along the way while painting? Certainly, and that's a great comment. Certainly. So as I continue to build it, yeah, there's different changes in expression. You hit on a good note there, because when you're painting someone in person, painting someone from life, their expression changes from time to time, little micro expressions. That's one of the biggest problems with photo references, actually, is that you don't have those. So if the expression does change from time to time, which it does here, that's a good thing, actually. That shows that I do try as much as I can to make it resemble painting from life. So it's just easygoing, slow, not overly methodical, intuitive process. Just chilling and adding some paint. Nothing too stressful about this. Okay, let's see. So, comment from Utek. I don't know how to pronounce your name. So that's why you use this one of two pseudonyms. Oh, cool. So you use unrefined linseed oil, but prefer painting with liquid. Liquid is good for glazing in the early stages. Comment from Mr. Pianoli. About the ferrules, when mixing paint, I tend to accidentally push paint into the ferrules without knowing. It's so hard to build up in there. That wouldn't. Okay, so about that, when paint gets into the ferrules, it's kind of difficult to clean unless you're using the master soap. And I'm not sponsored by any companies, though I wish I was. The master soap actually gets the paint out from the ferrules. I know what you mean. that like when it's stuck around the middle of the brush, not the middle, but here, I think you're referring to here, when there's like a dark buildup over here. The Master Soap does a pretty good job of getting rid of that. Oh yeah, Spike Lavender is awesome. Expensive, but it's really nice to use. You can use Spike Lavender if you don't want to use odorless mineral spirits. Use it for the same purposes. I use Spike Lavender to mix with my cold pressed linseed oil to oil out. I use it as my slower drying medium. So please spread the word about these streams. I want to keep doing them, especially with longer term paintings like this one. I really enjoy long term paintings just as much as short term. And I want to be able to demonstrate the not just the process, but the ease, how relaxing. Not that this is easy, but the I use the word ease as a just how relaxing it is to take your time with a painting. There's a time when you want to do sketches and things like that, but then there's time to slow down. Yep, very pricey stuff. Comment from Cal. So you said copying the photo, do you see different expressions? I see different expressions in the painting, not the photo. I'm not really copying the photo. So it's kind of a weird philosophy with realist painting. You almost never want to limit yourself to any reference. That even applies to painting from life. You don't want to, how to put it this way, and it's always up to you, right? If you want to make a perfect copy, then that's up to you. But usually, art, realist painting is an analogy. It's not so much a perfect replica of the thing that you're looking at. And stylization is a natural occurrence that happens with all painters. If you look at Vermeer, even though people still think for some reason that he would copy from Camera Obscura or something, there's a lot of stylization and personality that goes into it. Thanks for liking my Facebook page. A comment from Alivi. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel for some time. Yeah, definitely join me with these streams. Like I said, Tuesday, Thursdays, around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're welcome anytime. Yep, take care, Monique. So let's see, comment. So right now your current subjects are romantic art, trying to paint, producing 3D effect with precise perspective. Now that sounds very, very awesome. And for me, it's more of I'd say a pursuit of excellence. I love trying to get better at painting, and the freedom that painting and this kind of method gives me is such a wonderful feeling. Her expression changes as you proceed. As I proceed, does yes, her expression does change as I continue along this painting. Yes, you're correct. And I actually will. I consider expression to be a more of a final touch expression because it changes so much in different layers, different stages of the painting. Expression changes a lot. So I wouldn't suggest too early in a painting to lock in an expression. And it's too early in the painting, especially on the second layer, to say that this is the expression that the model is going to have. Because then the painting can become rigid. Unless you're trying to finish it in 2 layers, then that's a different story. And Mr. Piano Lee, oh, thank you for thinking I'm such a fast painter. And have I always been this way? Not really. I think in the past I used to paint much faster than this. Um, I have different modes of, I guess, the pace of which when I'm painting. For example, like when I first started doing painting demonstrations on YouTube, those pre-recorded videos from like 2017 or 2018 or whatever, I was painting fast, but I was under pressure. Like I was trying to paint fast because I didn't want to spend all day looking at footage and editing it. Um, so I had started to paint faster so that I wouldn't have to spend all day editing video, which is why I've since moved to more streams. For example, like when I teach online, I use streams, and I can paint more at whatever pace I want. But it's definitely not. I wouldn't consider myself a fast painter though, because um, if I was a fast painter, I'd probably have this face already um, modeled out. Someone that's a pretty fast painter, an excellent painter is I mentioned his name before, Jeremy Looking. A comment from Ali Levy. Nice to meet you as well. Oh, cool. Portrait and pet portrait painter in Texas. Awesome. So comment from Jim Adams. I love it. Keep these questions coming. This is great. It makes it so I don't have to think about what to say. It's good. I don't have to think about what comments and narration to do. So am I painting the darkest tones of the hair last? The darkest areas? Not really. Like I was saying, I'm kind of just building it from the middle tones of the face. When I get into the hair, I may start with like one note of the darkest and then work all around, but it's basically just working from the middle. But it's not set in stone. For example, like we've got some highlights and all kinds of things. This is more of a relaxing and not very rigid process. Very much how I just paint when I'm just painting in the studio and no one's watching and I'm just sitting there. It's the same pace, the same approach. So comment from someone. No, this portrait will be way more than one layer. This is just the second layer on the face. This will be many layers, if I can have enough viewers interested in it. At least for this, but so for example, if I get enough viewers interested in this painting, as I'm painting it, as I'm building it, then I will do more streams on it. If not, I will post the final image at some point later on Facebook. So no medium is, I'm not using any medium here at the moment. Just the oil paint. No extra medium. It's a little early for me to use medium. Probably next time I'll use medium. And I like to use Neo-Megilp. It's on this side of my palette. Neo-Megilp. A moderately fast dryer, but it's not as fast as Liquid. So what you want to do at this stage, what I recommend you do at this stage is hold back on putting too much refinement, too many details. Hold back if you can. And I've said this in an analogy of, if this face was composed of 20 pieces, and I spent hours just trying to make those 20 pieces stronger and stronger, that would be better than just adding in an extra like 40 pieces and making it like a 60 pieces or whatever. So what I'm trying to do is keep the same amount of information but make it more accurate, is what I'm trying to do. Yes, this is the second layer. Okay, so you begin with gray colors. Usually a long time passes, and then transparent browns. So that's a nice and careful process, and that's a way of developing through layers that I have also used in the past. And it's good to build it that way, but everyone has their own preferred methods. So how old was I when I first discovered oil paints? How many years have I been using it ever since? Let's see. When I was in high school, I was about 17 when I first started working with oil paints. And so I'm 30 now, so we're looking at 10 plus 3, so we're looking at like 13 years of oil painting. So not too long. I know some painters that have been working for like 50 years. A pretty long time, I'd say. Let's see. A comment. So someone first learned the anatomy, perspective, then how to mix colors. Yeah, and that's pretty much the kind of stuff that I'm teaching my students as well. I agree. So comment from someone. You're a young artist. You draw watercolor portrait. Let's see. Yeah, you can definitely. If you can do watercolors, you can do oil paint. Oil paint is way more forgiving. You let one of your paintings dry for like 20 years. Oh wow, that is a long time. I will definitely guarantee that painting has to be dry after 20 years, unless it's in a vacuum. Another thing I will suggest, if you can, try and stand when you're painting. I'm currently standing, and that gives you the ability to stand back. And I always recommend my students stand back and give yourself perspective on your painting. Not a good idea to be too close when you're painting. Oh, turning 25 in May. Oh, good number there. I don't really feel that different. I'm 30. I kind of feel better than when I was younger. But it's all about nutrition and exercise. Yep, I agree. Practice and practice. Hey, the Jack Tor come from a mini painting world. Question about glazing. Do you also glaze the brighter colors that are more opaque to adjust values? I glaze darker when I glaze. I usually will glaze darker, but I'm not using any glazes at the moment here. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I do like to sit and paint sometimes too. Yeah, 30 is still kind of young, I would say. 30 is like the new 20. Let's put it that way. Oh wow, congratulations, Ali Lavie. Hey Ingrid, welcome to the stream. So how does Liquin work in, so you can use Liquin to thin out your paint. That's one reason you can use medium, to thin your paint. Another thing you can do with any medium is you can use it to glaze. So glazing is a semi-transparent application of color. It's like a stained glass, where you can see the layers showing underneath. A good example to think about would be if you paint a monochromatic apple that's very light, and then you glaze it with Alizarin Crimson. That's one example of a where you can use a glaze. Hey, someone. Yeah, I mean, if you were interested, please check out the online classes. Or if you live near the Maryland area, I'll be teaching in person soon. Oh, there you go. Your name is Ali and your hair is lavender. Like spike lavender. Cool. Should do a self-portrait. So I know that this plane is covered by her hair. I'm kind of just trying to picture what it would look like. So thanks, someone. Alright, so now I'm gonna have to, I think I've done enough of the little mid-tone stuff there. Enough to get started, so now I should probably put some stuff down for the hair. Definitely gonna switch brushes for that. What do you say? We'll use this one. Clearly it's got a lot of paint on it because I haven't cleaned it. Last time I used this brush I think was last night. So what I do is, if I don't feel like cleaning the brushes, I will just stick them in the freezer. And lately what I've been doing is actually putting the top of the brush in a plastic bag, kind of suffocating the brush so that the paint doesn't dry. So what's the biggest portrait I've ever done? Oops, I think I missed some comments here. Well, thank you for that comment about me being a good teacher. Why do I use a wood palette instead of a glass or plastic? This is traditionally what people have used for centuries, and I just love the tradition of it. So it's because of the tradition, I think. Also, it's very light. It's easy to hold, and I hold my palette most of the time. So I only have it like this, so you can see it with this camera on there. What's the biggest portrait I've ever done? 3 feet by 5 feet is the biggest portrait I've ever done. And yes, it's the one of my wife in her wedding dress. Thanks for seeing that one. Yeah, totally. Do a self-portrait with your son. Okay. Well, let's put something down for the hair. And I actually like to put light into dark when I'm painting wet on wet. So I'm starting off with the darks. And there's definitely a cast shadow that needs to go there. Oh, thank you, Mina's Diary. Yep, spread the word, please. 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I usually go from 7 to 9. And I upload new online lessons to for my students on Wednesdays and Saturdays, so a lot of videos. Cast shadow. Hey, Angela. So some colors are just naturally more transparent. Like this one is Alizarin Permanent. I'm going Alizarin Permanent, Dioxazine Purple, Burnt Sienna. Two very, or 3 very transparent colors. So I really don't need much of a medium for this. So I'm going to go into this dark with light in a wet on wet style. Yeah, it's the Alizarin Crimson, Jim Adams. Thanks, Call. And let's get another color out for the light of the hair. I mean, you're also a portrait artist, but you want to learn more. Still practicing. Well, thanks for watching. I'd say that the best thing anyone can do for improving their portrait painting skills is to draw from life, paint from life. I consider oil painting and I consider painting and drawing to be the same thing. So I've gotten the question, do I ever draw before? And my response is usually I draw pretty much every day, just with oil paint and with color. So I'm just testing out what the light will look like, and then I'll cover the rest of the hair with dark. It's kind of an orangey-ish color. And like I said, this is going to have many different layers, so I'm not really that picky about how my painting dries. So even if I just left it the way it is, I'd be fine with it. I'd be able to pick up where I left off. Let's make it a tad bit more brown. Go cross complementary, yellow and purple. The highlight looks a little closer. It's a very difficult color to try to get. It's not bright red, it's not bright orange, it's something weird. Alright, so I'd say that's close enough. Now, I will actually thin out the paint, but not with medium. I'm just going to use a tad bit of Gamsol. So I keep my Gamsol in this little container. Put a tad bit of Gamsol on here. The problem with this is that it will fade, it will sink in as it dries, but I'll probably just go over this again in the same manner with medium next time. That seems to be a good question to ask everyone. Oh, thanks, Mr. Pianoli. So good question from Ingrid. So everyone, let's see. What or who are your favorite artists? So comment from Jim Adams. That's where I went wrong in my painting. I tried to use ebony black for the dark tones of red hair. It just streaked and ruined it. You can't. Don't think of it as ruining it. It's a process. If you know one layer, it changes from layer to layer. So sometimes I may not like what I have in one layer, and I go and adjust it later, and it's fine. It's just a building process. So comment for or question for everyone: who are your favorite artists? Of course, I always will mention my superhero, Nelson Shanks. One of my absolute favorites. You have Jeremy Lipking, who's an excellent artist. You have Colleen Berry, Harry Dunn, of course my teacher, Alden Hamilton, and my other teacher, Karen Warshall, an artist based in Baltimore, Maryland. So I've got a few answers here. Van Dyke, Cezanne. Okay. Anyone here of Solomon Joseph Solomon? If you haven't heard of Solomon Joseph Solomon, definitely look him up. Not a very well-known painter. Lost a little bit throughout the years. He's done some spectacular paintings. Kind of like a mix between Bouguereau and Sargent. Oh, Turner, that's a good one. And yeah, Van Gogh for his history. A tragic history, but definitely I see where you're coming from. Vermeer, definitely. Definitely. We're currently doing a Vermeer study of the Milkmaid in the online classes. We're going to throw in a little bit of a cast shadow. Yep, Monet is a great one as well. Oh, thanks for that comment, Minnow. Good to know that people are going to museums and seeing these paintings in person. So I'm glad that you're able to do that, Minnow. So, Mr. Sargent from Danny Shenanigans. And yes, we've got a Rembrandt. Awesome. That sounds good. Historical painting. Oh, good, good. Modern day painter, David LaFell. Yeah, he's been referred to as the reincarnation of Rembrandt. Odd Nerdrum is a good one too, along that kind of Rembrandtian line. Hey, Omni Panda. Yeah, Richard Schmidt is great too. And the Wyeths. So remember to treat the hair just like the face. Planes. Planes, planes, and planes. And like I said, I'll probably just glaze the dark over this next time with some Neo-Megilp and continue to refine it. Yep, Francis Bacon, that's a good one. Yeah, I would love to see the Night Watch. No, I don't know anyone from Indonesia. And thank you for those of you that have left a like for the stream. If you do like the stream, please leave a like. Helps me out with the algorithm. Like I said, I like to paint into the dark. I just keep building up different planes. I'll probably throw a greenish color in here soon. Go with cadmium green. We're definitely going to need something for the dark. Throw in a green and a ultramarine blue. Go with the complement of blue, orange. Thin out the paint a little bit. I'll make this a little more blue. Like I said, I don't quite know what I'm going to paint in here, but I do want that value to be a little darker. Well, thank you for subscribing, Jim Adams. Make the right side a little more blue. I'm throwing in some Pthalo Turquoise. At least I think I am. It's kind of dry. This is just a piece of paper towel. So if you paint with less or little to no medium, and you let the paint, let the layers build a little more thin, the painting will actually dry naturally faster. I'm also painting this way because I want this to be dry enough by next Tuesday. Mr. Pianoli, your new favorite color is Cobalt Teal by Michael Harding. That's a good one. And that is actually a good question to ask everyone. I like this. Ingrid, how long have the current views been painting? When did I start painting? Oh, I started painting in 2009. Around 2009, 2008. Alright, so question for everyone. What is your favorite color in terms of an painting color? Like your favorite color and what brand? And you can also type a little description of why this color is your favorite. For me, my favorite color is, it's kind of hard because my favorite color in oil painting always changes, but let's say my favorite at the moment is Pthalo Turquoise. That's my favorite color in oil paint at the moment. But you can comment your favorite acrylic, watercolor, or gouache, or whichever. I like Pthalo Turquoise because I'm actually doing a big portrait of a model in a turquoise dress, and I mixed Pthalo Turquoise with a little bit of lead tin yellow in the highlights and ultramarine blue in the darks. And it's one of the most vivid blue colors I've ever seen. So yes, try to avoid medium for um, lean layers to a painting. Remember, you want to paint fat over lean, so I want this layer to be pretty lean. So I don't use any medium. I'm just getting rid of some glare with my fan brush. My computer screen is making this look really red, like really bright red. It is not that red. I'm going to actually adjust it even more. I throw in some skin tone for this color. Van Dyke Brown, that's a good one. Rembrandt paint. Oh, right, the brand. My Pthalo Turquoise says Winsor Newton. Queen Yellow was your favorite color. Quinacridone Yellow. Good one, good one. Master's Touch Rogue with acrylics. Cool, haven't heard of that one. Quinacridone Magenta, Winsor Newton. Good one, good one. Nice and vivid color. Pthalo Blue, Winsor Newton. Oh, that's a good one too. Very similar to my Pthalo Turquoise. And with my fan brush, a tip with these is actually to dry clean it. I can actually just use the edge of the canvas to clean it if I want to. Winsor Lemon. Awesome. Power, Courage, and Wisdom. Viridian by Blue Ridge. Oil colors. Yeah, Viridian is a very good green to use. Might have just used it just now without even knowing it. Oh, thanks, Stephanie. I'm glad that you like the hair. A comment from Minnow. Seeing a painting for real is like seeing a musician playing live. That's a good analogy. I didn't think about that one. Yes, hopefully we all have a passion for painting. But one thing I like to do with eyebrows is to paint them out and paint into them wet on wet. I'm gonna do that soon. What yellow? Lead tin yellow, I think. The yellow I was talking about. Actually, I'm gonna use it now anyway. This is lead tin yellow. Lead tin yellow light, to be precise. That's by Rublev. But Michael Harding also makes a really nice lead tin yellow. As you've seen with the face, I haven't added that much more information. In fact, some spots like here is still like the raw canvas. Or not the raw canvas, the tone of the canvas. Off with the eyebrows. Indian yellow is like liquid sunshine. I agree. I have Indian yellow here too. It's a nice deep yellow. I love mixing Indian yellow with lead tin yellow to make gold. Goldish colors. I like to paint gold in a lot of my paintings. Hoping that it'll raise the price of the painting, of course. By adding a little touch of gold. So why do I paint the eyebrows out? I like to paint eyebrows in wet on wet. It's easier on the edges. I can make some softer edges if I want to, or sharpen them if I want to. So, Mano, you actually studied photography, but always painted for a couple decades. Oh wow, cool. And you know what? Someone just said Indian yellow reminds them of turmeric. I can see that. I never thought about that, but I can see that. Now please note that the painting is at an angle with respect to the camera. So it may look a tad bit different just because of the perspective. So nope, no dumb questions here as long as it's art related. Let's see, how much paint do I load on my brush? As much as I can. Sometimes I'll take some out if I have too much paint. I just run the brush across paper towel. I just did that about a couple seconds ago. But usually as much as I can pack onto the brush. I paint with a loaded brush, but very delicately. Like I said, easy going, smooth sailing. So another materials question for everyone. Question for everyone. What is your favorite surface to paint on? Preferably what brand of canvas or panel, or what kind of surface do you like to paint on? I like to use very fine Glasson's oil primed linen. I now have lead primer, so I'm going to have lead oil primed very fine linen soon. Thanks, Jim Adams. Oh yeah, totally. Gotta love gold in paintings. That blue dress, that turquoise blue dress painting that I was talking about, I added in some gold decorations to it. Gotta admit, I really like the way it looks with the gold. Yeah, I have much control over the edges, painting wet into wet. Thanks, Ingrid. Nice quote from Minnow. So, Ali, you have a job painting on high quality clothing. A lot of denim and sweats. Awesome. It sounds like a great job. So, project safe. You like to use canvas. So, do you mean cotton canvas or linen canvas? So, Mr. Pianoli, definitely linen. Yeah, once you start using linen, can't stop using linen. Such a fun surface. I will tell you, if you want to save yourself money, do not buy a bunch of pre-stretched linens canvases. Stretch them yourself. Buy the linen rolls. You will save yourself so much money. But obviously, I understand if you're only painting like a couple paintings at a time. I mean, by a couple paintings, I mean you're painting maybe like one day out of the week or something like that. Then you can. I mean, it's crazy. I was just at the art store earlier today. I was looking at a 16 by 20 linen canvas. The thing was $40. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's so many 16 by 20s that I can stretch, and I know that the price per surface area of linen is nowhere compared to that. Crazy. So definitely I suggest you stretch your own linens. Ali, you love cotton canvas panels. Awesome. Amina's Diary, you like canvas. So do you mean cotton or linen? Also, what brands of linen is everyone using? Or brands of cotton? I like Glasson's. I like Glasson's a little more than the other one, Centurion. Centurion is good, but I like Glasson's a little more. So earlier somebody asked about how to make the edges look like tips on like blending the edges or something. You can see pretty much everything I've added in there. The values are very close to one another. April, you saw Andy Warhol exhibit at the Art Institute in Chicago. That's awesome. Another very famous artist. Mr. Pianoli, yeah, I buy my linen already primed, but I can still add like a lead primer to it, which is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I buy the Classens either double or quadruple oil primed. And this one is not the very fine linen, this is the fine linen, which is still pretty smooth. And I think this one was a double oil primed. No thanks, Ingrid. Hey man, I don't think I've heard of that one. I gotta look this person up. So again, purposefully holding back on the details. I could have easily just went right into my sables and just went to town on that eye, but I held back so that the information that's in here is as solid as it can be. And you're witnessing one of the wonderful attributes of lead white. There's a lot of paint on this brush. Lead white, remember, it has this property of which you can use more of it without raising the value, thus allowing you to have, I'd say, more control in the middle range. But it's not just about the thickness of the paint, it's about the control that it allows you to have. Very subtle. Subtle things now. The bulb of the nose should be a little sharper. I may flatten it out slightly. Centurion linen panels are least expensive. Yeah, those are good. I've used those before too. So please spread the word. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To be more precise, usually around 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, thanks for listing out those names, Menno. Definitely gotta check them out. Alright, so before I head out, I'm gonna cover the rest of the shadow on the side of the face that I seem to have missed. Thanks for sharing that info, Menno. Okay, that should be good. Now I'm just blending ever so slightly, dry brush blending, meaning not actively trying to add paint there, just because I don't feel like mixing anything up for it at the moment. Gotta drop the brush eventually. Alright, so brushes down. I'm gonna turn this. Oh, got a comment. Do I build my own stretcher bars? No, I don't. Actually, what I do, what I do is I buy cotton canvases and I rip the cotton off of them, and that actually sometimes is cheaper than buying stretcher bars, believe it or not. So, fun fact there. I reuse my stretcher bars a lot, just like I reuse my surfaces. Alright, so I'm going to turn it so you can see it with less distortion. And that should be about good. Oh, a lot of glare, but lots of glare, but less distortion. Guess I'll turn it up slightly. There it is. So that's as close as I can get it to front and centered, so you can see what it looks like. And for those of you that, whoops, hold on a second, camera just shut off. Okay. For those of you that saw the last one, or didn't see the last one was the start of this painting. So the open grisaille, I called it, and then going right into a color. So next time, if you want me to, I will continue to build the painting, probably moving towards the hands and the shoulders and the arms and things like that. And then who knows, maybe after that we can get started on the drapery, if you're interested in it. Hey Menno, yeah, it would be nice if we could all take a field trip to a museum. Hey Carol, yeah, the neck is probably a little bit longer, but it's not not a major concern to me. Alright, so let's see, any last minute questions? So I'm going to hang out for a couple minutes, see if there's any last questions, and then I'll head out. Oh, thanks, Stephanie. I'm glad that you'd like to see more of this painting. Since you're in Virginia, if you're close enough to Howard County, Maryland, that would definitely be cool to see you in my painting group that I run on Wednesday mornings, if you're free Wednesday mornings. And yes, thanks for commenting the schedule, Ingrid. Awesome. I'm glad. You're welcome anytime, Jim Adams. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great group today, everyone. Hopefully, I'll see you all again on Tuesday. Well, thanks, Brian Wong. Yeah, thank you for all the wonderful comments, everyone. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. I don't think. So once again, remember these live painting sessions will be Tuesdays and Thursdays around 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoyed what you've seen here and my previous videos as well, and you're interested in taking your learning with me further, please check out my online classes on patreon.com/upariartist. Also posted in the comments of this live chat and in the description box of this video. The online classes start at just $10 a month. Gives you access to the pre-recorded videos for the lessons, the projects. I have a virtual classroom video that comes out every Tuesday afternoon, along with many other possible benefits that you can have as well on my Patreon, such as painting with me on Zoom. So with all of that said, that is the end of today's stream. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday around 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I wish you the very best in all of your artwork, and I'll see you on the next one.